Okay, girls, so we're going to start this unit looking at an overview of a statistics process. So we are going to be covering, like in this presentation, the first video, we're going to be covering like the whole statistics process so that you have an overview of what is going to be happening during this unit. So first, a definition of what is a statistics. So statistics is the collection and analysis. These two words are very important. Collection and analysis of data in order to respond to a question. Okay, and this is also very important. The whole idea is that you're going to collect data, you're going to analyze it, but why are you doing that? Because you want to respond, you want to answer a question. We're going to be talking about univariate analysis, and univariate analysis means that involves only one variable. So you're analyzing only one variable, and this is the one that we're going to be focusing on this unit, okay? But I like to, what other types of analysis does it exist? Multivariate analysis examines two or more variables, and it usually talks about when one variable depends on the other, and you have done this in other units of maths, but I want you to understand that now we're only going to be, and in science as well, you have done this type of analysis when you're trying to analyze why a variable depends on another. But in this unit, we're going to be analyzing only one variable. We're going to be focusing on only one variable, okay? Wonderful. So let's start first with types of data, and that's the first thing that we're going to do. So there are two types of data: categorical, that at the same time divides in nominal and ordinal, and numerical, that divides into discrete and continuous. I'm going to explain this in more detail in another video, but this is like the general overview. So what is a statistical process? It all starts with a question. So you have a question, you design a process, or investigation, or research that you're going to do to answer that question. This triggers the whole process. So the first thing that you have to do is collect data. And then you have to organize the data. Then you display it or present it. Then you analyze it. And finally, you make your conclusions to answer that question. Okay, so let's start with what is the collection of data. So in collection of data, we're going to talk about the difference between a census and a sample. And within sample, we're going to talk about random samples, stratified samples, and systematic ways of forming samples. This is going to make more sense when we go into more details about this. Organized data. So when we're going to talk about organizing data, we're going to talk about frequency tables, dot plots, stem and leaf plots, and back-to-back stem and leaf plots. Then we're going to talk about displaying data. So the reason why types of data is important is because it's going to tell you the best way to organize and to display your data. So if your data is categorical, remember this type that we say categorical, that are nominal and ordinal. So if it's got categorical, the best way to display is going to be bar graphs or pie chart or histograms or frequency polygons. On the other hand, if it's numerical data, remember these ones that we talk about, numerical data that are discrete and continuous. You can use linear graphs or stepped graphs as well. Then we're going to analyze data. So to analyze data, we talk about the summary measures, and these ones are either central tendency or spread. So central tendency are those that are the average, the mean, the mode, those ones, and the spreads are standard deviation and those kind of things, okay? So if you're talking about categorical data, you only talk about the central tendency, and that's the mode. If you're talking about numerical data, you talk about the central tendency. If it's a metric distribution, it's mean. If it's skewed distribution, you use the median. If this is spread distribution, you use, in terms of a spread, if it's symmetric distribution, you use the standard deviation. And if it's skewed distribution, you use interquartile range. And finally, don't get scared if you are like, what is all this? You don't have to take notes. As I said, you're going to learn this through the unit, okay? So don't worry about this. This is only an overview, so you understand where everything is going. And then you make your conclusions. Why to answer that question that we had at the beginning. So I like this graph because as you can see, you have here like the interrogation mark, and this guy here is putting in the final piece, and when we're going to put it into the jigsaw puzzle, it's going to be the final answer. It's going to be a light bulb. Okay, so that's the whole process, and you do all those process to answer your question at the end. Okay, wonderful, girls. We're going to go into detail in the next video. Thank you for watching.